4, 3, 2, 1. I'm John Miglosh for the Wisconsin DMA and the International Society for Strategic Marketing. A lot on the plate today. Let's start with some Halloween fun from Geico.
She wanted a roommate who could help with the cooking.
But she wanted someone who loves cats. So we got Griswolda.
Dinner's almost ready.
But one thing we could both agree on was getting Geico to help with our renter's insurance.
Yeah, switching and saving was really easy.
Yeah. Taste. Drink it all up. Good.
Could use a little salt. Just a bit.
You feeling okay, Megan?
Yeah?
Are you sure?
Why are you looking at me like that?
Megan,
Yeah?
you sure you're okay? You sure you're okay?
Visit geico.com and see how easy saving on renter's insurance can be.
Hi.
There you go. Now we'll talk about add value exchange in a little bit, and you'll get where I'm going with that. Okay, now here's something unbelievable. The Nevada privacy law goes into effect right now. A new privacy law in Nevada shows the need for federal legislation. Let's get Congress to quit goofing around with hearsay allegations and start doing their job with CCPA and with sales tax and with other issues that are unconstitutionally affecting interstate commerce. So Nevada passes a law which sounds better than California, but it says on the website a consumer has to be able to opt out of the sale of some personally identifiable data. Now here's the tricky part. How do we identify the consumer when they come? A couple of issues there. One is, how do we remember who that was? So I go to a website, I click on, I don't want you to sell my data. Well, I got to log in. I got to give you data. In fact, I got to give you a lot more data than you'd have just by me visiting a website. In order for me to do this, I have to give you name and address. I have to give you the stuff that I don't want you to have. And you don't have if I don't bother with this, right? You don't get name and address or email address from people who visit websites. You don't. You get a cookie. Stop using cookies. Turn off your cookies and you won't have them. For the consumer, almost all browsers now are turning off cookies, so we won't have the cookie. Okay, what do we have? We have an IP address, okay, and we can match the IP address to data from other places that maybe will get you. Of course, if you power down your router every now and then, it resets your IP address. So if you have a dynamic IP, which almost everyone has. So we have a very low match rate on IP address to get to address, okay? But, okay, so let's pretend I give you all that stuff, name, address, and city, state, zip, and all that, so that you won't share my name, address, city, state, zip. Insane, right? Okay. And you'll have to keep, the website will have to keep a database. But how do you know it's me? How do you know it isn't some relative of mine who doesn't want me to see your Nevada website because I have a gambling problem or something, and just goes to all the Nevada websites and blocks my name? But it's not me blocking it. How do you know it was me? So now there's a huge ANIC database being built from 6,000 data sources to tell if the person asking to not have their name rented is the person whose name I want to not rent. If any of you are thinking of passing legislation like this, you might want to give me a call. Okay? The Nevada law only applies to name, address, email, telephone numbers, stuff you wouldn't have they wouldn't have if you just visit their website. It's a non-issue. Nevada's law is an improvement over California, says Dave Cromaldi, Vice President of Public Policy, IAB. Anybody knows what IAB is? I went to their website, I went to their LinkedIn page, I went to Dave's profile. Must be so important that I've never heard of what IAB stands for, but it's something. Anyway, something to think about. Write your congressman, say we need to get some legislation about privacy and about sales tax because it's a mess. 12,000 taxing authorities in the United States, and you're supposed to follow those laws. It's impossible. Okay, this is an interesting article by Tracy here. Tracy says trust in advertising is eroded in the UK to an all-time low, from 50 to 25%. That may be because their advertising isn't like the Google or the Geico ad. 7 out of 10 consumers find ads annoying, and how ad blocking is accelerating at pace. That was just talked by the ANA. There's been an explosion of space where brands can serve more ads more frequently with less concern at lower cost. I wrote an article back in 1995 about as the cost per contact approaches zero, the care per contact approaches zero. Think about that. Think about that with the email explosion and with the internet explosion. How since your cost per impression is so low, we don't even care where it appears. Okay, we've forgotten about the end user. The bombardment of advertising online has severely impacted the value exchange between brands and consumers, and there is no obvious benefit that justifies them accepting this bombardment. Unless they're funny, like Geico. Or the stevia ad I did yesterday. You know, some ads, I don't mind watching it. There was a day when advertising was funny. Tastes great. Less filling. Tastes great. And all this stupid stuff. In the days of mass media, most of the time, advertising was better than the TV shows. Not anymore. Connecting back to content could represent a big part of that fix. What an idea. So instead of trying to drop a cookie on your on your computer as you visit a page and track you everywhere and figure all the things out and just show you the ad you're going to want for the product you want next, which I can't figure out. Doesn't happen. I keep track. In my head. I think when I'm going on eBay looking for something, did I think I wanted this yesterday? No, it didn't occur to me. I bought a fender liner for my wife's car on eBay. That's the last thing I bought. I took her to the body shop. He said, we're not fixing that. Those things are junk. I said, okay, I'll order it and fix it myself. That's how I make decisions. Anyway, great article, Reconnecting Media with Content. What that means is put ads where you think your customers are. And you're not going to get precise about it. As I told the story, Windham Hill Records, they said all of our buyers, our listeners are male 35 to 55, above average income and education. And there were 14 million of those, and they only had about 1 million customers. I said, some of those don't like your music, and only a few do. 1 in 14, basically. So you got to think of something different. And so we put a little flyer in the CD case, which worked really well. It could offer the answer to targeting in a cookieless world. And now more and more subscribers are changing their business model to gated communities, which at least show you that the advertising viewers, if I subscribe to Media Week or Ad Age, then at least I'm going to be paying attention. Although, I try to avoid those. I usually find an article on the Wall Street Journal and then switch over. Increasingly, the publishers are thinking about readers as customers. What an idea. It improves content, I think, too. Content is where real people and advertisers have been buying audiences where they are not even sure if they're buying wholly human ones, right? That's the way it is today. This next chapter of the internet, news brands are returning to a genuine position of strength. Advertising, quite rightly, advertisers want to be where genuine audiences are congregating and crowd around their passion points. The digital world is shifting on its axis. Wonderful article, Tracy. Now I want to just go over and visit a site that I've become reacquainted with, Brand United. And it's actually a brand that's sort of sponsored by print printer-related companies. And it has case studies, lots of case studies, and it can even have tabs on them so that you can see what the case study features. You know, what's retail. Here's one, direct mail, Quadratec. And there was one I liked over here. There's a whole bunch of them. When it first got started, there wasn't much content. There was a Piggly Wiggly one. Personalized customer satisfaction survey helps Piggly Wiggly boost customer experience. And it talks about grocery experience. There's a video. It's downloadable PDF. And grocery stores have thin margin. And it talked about how there was one store that was significantly lower in sales. So they did a customer satisfaction survey, fancy, personalized. Now, I worked on this in 1988 with Dominic's Finer Foods in Chicago. And what we did was match the neighborhood addresses with the U-Crops system that they had imported, which is, you know, you got your pig card, right? I got a pig card. And your name and address is on there. So you can omit your best buyers and send mailers to the lower participating households. So the big problem with coupons when you advertise in the newspaper or, you know, broadly on your website or something, mass media, is that they over incentivize the good customers, right? So the good customers will clip them and come in, and that erodes your margin. That's why the margin is so thin. Now, most grocery stores will tell you that the reason they put the ads out there in the first place is they get co-op advertising. And you could argue that the newspaper co-ops for decades have paid the grocery stores more as an advertising conduit than they made selling groceries. It is actually probably true. But the problem is that you've got people fairly close in to your grocery store that aren't shopping there. And you could figure out who they are. And those are the people I would have targeted with this. And they talk about the redemption rate, great redemption rate. Where's the coupons? They had coupons for Tide and for Bounty. And they got great redemption rates. But I would have done that suppressed maybe and targeted certain people or targeted categories of merchandise that they weren't currently buying. And say, try out our meat, try out our bakery, deli, or whatever. You might try with the general one first and see if there's weak points, and then like remodel the deli. This particular store had some problems in the bakery deli area. And so then target those kind of coupons for them to try out that merchandise. Very, very nicely done. I wish the case study would have been done more by a direct marketer, because at the end, basically, it says that the retail numbers went up. The whole purpose of the campaign was find out why the store was underachieving, fix the problem, turn the sales numbers around. Since the campaign ended, the subsequent training, says Messer, we have literally had an increase in revenue every week in that store. Thanks for nothing. And if you really want to know what's going on, and especially if you had more than one store, like Fox Brothers has about 6 stores. If you really wanted to know what's going on, you'd also hold out some of the names and not mail them the coupons and track what they did. Because with the pig card, you can do that. So you could really set this up for direct marketing if you're a Piggly Wiggly. And so at the bottom, you can ask for a pro to help you. Or you can call the WDMA and we'll find somebody for you. I'm John Miglosh. Like and share. Your friends will think you